Hey guys, what's up? So I have Mark over here, and as I was trading this pattern, I realized that the best lesson I could do on Mark is about risk management, because if this was about 2 years ago where I was kind of experienced, kind of not, still on the edge, I would have got faked out on this if I was trying to play the breakout. There were a lot of kind of drops that I would just sell and cut my losses quickly. But the only reason that I didn't get faked out, whereas a couple of years ago I would have got faked out, the only thing that kept me profitable today was having a good risk management system. So I'll be going over what I did on Mark as a trade. I am working on a guide for risk management, the exact same system that I use in order to get into trades, play breakouts, you name it. So I'm working on that guide. I'll be releasing it sometime in the future. It takes a little while because it's going to be a couple hours long. But I'll give a quick rundown on what I did on Mark right now. So this right here, that was Friday's nice green day. I played that breakout and I posted a video how I was able to play that breakout. If you didn't check it out, I'll link the video in the description below. But this was today's green day right there, gapped up. This right here is a multi-day, multi-week breakout, and as I kind of zoom out, when I look in this area right here where the price was consolidating, I was kind of looking at that area to tell me where I wanted to take my profits if I was going to enter. So I'm going to zoom in on today's green day. So market open, each candle right here is 2 minutes, by the way. So market open, it started fading, and honestly, I thought that's what it would do for the rest of the day, just kind of fade or be neutral or whatever. But it caught my attention when it started to uptrend, and when it started to make higher lows. So for example, right here was the bottom. This low was higher than the previous low. This low was higher than the previous low, and so forth, all the way up. So I took that as a sign that it would be on a bullish side today. Another good sign was that during midday, when there's a lot of fake outs, when volume kind of dies down, it was able to hold its gains actually. And the big factor for me was the volume. So at about like 10:15, 10:30 a.m., I looked at the volume. It was big, consistent volume. And my guess was that I'd be able to finish at 100 million shares traded by the end of today. It actually turns out that I traded about 84, 85 million. So I wasn't too far off, but those were the three big factors that played a role in me deciding that this can have legs to keep going. So 1, it was making higher lows. 2, midday, it held its gains, whatever gains it had. And 3, the biggest one was consistent volume. So when I decided I could run, I started getting in on dips. Every time it kind of spiked and then dipped down, I would add a partial position. And the reason I do that, that's the kind of system that I use for risk management, because if I was wrong, if it broke a certain level that I set for myself, I would sell my entire position, I'd cut losses quickly, but I'd only be wrong on a small amount of shares. So if you're trading consistently, if you're like right 60% of the time, 65% of the time, your gains are going to be growing exponentially, and your losses, they're only going to be on small positions. So over time, you're not even going to notice those losses on your account if you're trading correctly. So that's what I was doing. I was adding in partial position on dips. And my entire bet was based on if it can break 281/290 area. The reason for that is because it was struggling a lot at 281. It was attacking, then kind of bouncing down, attacking, then bouncing down. And 290s, because that was the high of day. So I'm like, okay, if it could break 281, it could probably start attacking 290s. And if it breaks 290, that's where I'll probably start taking my profits. And that's exactly what happened. So it broke 281. I added a little bit more to my position again. And long story short, I had my entire position at an average price of 278. And then I sold most of my shares at $3.05. But right now, I'll add that live trading clip to kind of show you guys my thought process when I was taking the profits. So Mark is making new high of days. It's attacking the $3 range. So when I look on the long-term resistance, I've been seeing resistance in the low threes. Even can get up to the three like teens, like 316, 318, 320 even. So I don't want to risk holding all my shares until that. I want to get out at about 305 with most of my shares and let the rest ride up to see how far they could go. But it looks like it's breaking out of 3 pretty nicely right now. It has volume. So it did hit 304. I was a penny off. Awesome. So I just got filled at 305, and I still have quite a bit of shares, maybe another third of my position, still in the 270s. So I'm just gonna let it ride, see how far I could go. I'm gonna play the price action. So market just had a big crack, and that makes me double think if I want to hold it overnight again. So I'd rather just take safe profits right now on the shares that I had just to ride.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Awesome. So I got filled at 295 with a partial position. The rest of my shares I got filled at 305. So yeah, that was about average sold at 303ish, 302, and average position on the entry was at 278. So that was a decent trade, decent profit. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, so long story short, I made about 8% profit on that trade. As you guys heard before, I thought I'd let myself ride a couple of shares, maybe overnight, just to see how it would turn out, just as an experiment, right? But when it started cracking right here, I'm like, I don't want to risk it. I'll just take my profits, and it cracked more. But the main reason why I didn't want to ride the rest of the shares overnight at about this point was I had an alert on the QQQ. The markets were dropping based on some news, and I just didn't want to be long on any stock overnight, just because I didn't know what is going to happen after hours, pre-market, or tomorrow, to say the least. So yeah.